In today's video, I'm going to share with you some of the things that I've learned since I deleted social media. I've been off social media for the last 90 days and I've learned a lot. And so I thought I would just make this video just to share with you how I was able to improve the quality of my life and improve myself deleting social media. So grab a coffee and let's just talk about this. So for context, I deleted social media September 2025, and this actually started as like a winter arc. And if you don't know what the winter arc is, it's just really where you are able to improve yourself, focus on your goals for the last 90 days of the year, so that way you are able to improve your life going forward and building that momentum essentially. So that's kind of what that is, and that's how this initially started. So it became more than that though, because my desires changed and I was, yes, focused on my life and building that momentum going into 2026, but there was something that just changed in me and I felt like I've learned a lot and I want to share that with you. So now that we got the context out of the way, I want to share some of the things that I've learned, and I'm just going to make this very conversational and very raw. I'm not trying to, be perfect here. And so for me, deleting social media wasn't really something new to me. I've done this before for months at a time. And so it wasn't really that scary for me. The only challenge was that I was really getting myself established on social media, like short form content like TikTok and Instagram, where I was posting consistently and showing up every day. And then I was also using Threads to help me grow my business. So I was a little worried. I was like, am I really gonna miss out, or is that really gonna help me grow my business? And when I think about it now, my decision wasn't factored in, and as far as like results, like did I make any money in my business with those platforms? And I'm talking about TikTok and Instagram. And so I should have thought of that at the time, but I didn't. But I was like, you know what? I don't need those platforms to build my business. The only platform I'm gonna work on and use is YouTube. YouTube is a search engine. So people go to YouTube to learn something, and that's how I use YouTube. So I was just gonna stick with YouTube and then focus on my email list. So that was kind of my intention. And so I was just, I was just really gonna focus on deleting those short form platforms just so that I could just focus on my goals and build my business up. So one of the things that I've learned, and I have a few here, I have like 5 points that I want to share with you. And over the last 90 days plus, I have learned a lot. Like my life has been completely different. So the first thing that I've learned is I've gained clarity. Like I cannot describe to you how clear your life will become when you delete social media. So for me personally, deleting social media has allowed me to have more clarity because I'm not constantly consuming content. I'm not constantly checking my phone. And we live in a world today where we're constantly checking our phones. And when you have, a couple hours of your day checking your phone, checking and scrolling social media, there's a lot of nonsense and a lot of things that that's filling your mind that you're not able to have clarity. There's so much noise from consumption, overconsumption, that it's impossible to have clarity. And so for me, I wasn't constantly checking my phone. I wasn't checking my posts. Obviously, I wasn't doing any of that. Now, I'm not saying that's not important from a business standpoint when it comes to posting content, but there comes a point where when you're constantly checking your phone, it's just, your mind is so overwhelmed. I can't even explain to you how that really affects you psychologically and with your nervous system. And so we live in a world where performance and outcomes has become our identity. So we're always trying to fight for attention and we're always trying to stand out when it comes to short form content. And it really just hinders that clarity that you need in life. And I'm not just talking about business, but I'm talking about your relationships, your personal life, where you want to go, like how you want to manage your money. Clarity is just something we all need, and it's impossible to have when you're constantly checking social media and you're constantly on your phone spending hours every single day. And I think that having clarity to plan your life and move in a specific direction, it just changes the way you approach life. So a lot of people really do walk aimlessly through life because they have no clarity. So that's just one of the things that I thought I would put out there. The other thing, the last point on this, is that I think it's really interesting how so many people have more understanding and more information about a sports player than they do their own life. Think about that for a minute. Some people know more about a team and a player in the NFL or the NBA or MLB than they do themselves. It's kind of sad, don't you think? So having clarity allows you to just know more about yourself. And number 2 is you remove distractions. I cannot stress to you how this changed my life, because again, this is about constantly picking up your phone and scrolling social media. When we're constantly scrolling social media, we have these big distractions that take away our attention on God, your business, your personal life, the things that you actually need to solve in your life. For me personally, I was able to focus on God more, focus on my wife, focus on my game plan for 2026. When it came to my finances, when it came to every area of my life, I had no distractions to stop me from pursuing those things. Again, this kind of ties back into clarity. And so for me, I was able to free up my time exponentially because I wasn't glued to my phone. And now, if we are scrolling social media, let's say between 2 to 4 hours per day, think about that for a minute. Think about what you could do with the 2 to 4 hours that you spend scrolling social media. You could literally build a business working 2 to 4 hours every day. You can go hiking, you can go meet new people, you can network. There are so many things that you could do that would be better for your health. And so that is just really important that I found for me was removing distractions allowed me to focus on the most important areas of my life and things that matter to me, like hobbies. The other thing with social media for me personally, and I'm going to be a little vulnerable here, is lust. On social media, it's easy to fall into temptations and fall into lust. And for me, deleting social media has removed that. And I have never felt so free in my spirit by removing social media. And so for me, I've been able to, work on making my heart pure and my ways right with God. So that's really something that has changed my life personally. Number 3 is you get to live a simple life. I cannot stress this enough. Have you ever met somebody on social media? I think you start to notice some patterns here that I've seen in my own life when it came to deleting social media. My life has become more simple. I live a quiet life and a slow life. This has been a big thing for me because I'm able to slow down. I'm able to be present in the moment, and I'm not on my phone, whether it's at the dinner table, out in public with friends, or if I'm just, hanging out with my wife. I'm not scrolling mindlessly on social media. And so that has been a big game changer for me, is just living a slow and simple life. And I know that we live in a world today where short form content is taking over and fighting for attention. And I believe that when we live, on social media, I believe it does affect us psychologically, and it affects our nervous system, where it carries over. If we're constantly on our phones and it's messing up our nervous system, we are gonna move through life with anxiety. And you may not know it because it's in your nervous system. You're feeling anxious and you may not even know why. That's for another conversation, for another day. We could talk about the nervous system and the whole thing behind that. But essentially what that's doing is it's putting you in fight or flight mode, and it's affecting you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And that, I've noticed for me, I've been able to slow down and be at peace, living a simple life. And I can't stress that enough. And so if you've never felt this before, your life will change. And we'll talk about how this affected my business, but we'll get there in a minute. And the next thing is, number 4, is you have total peace. I cannot stress this enough, and this is one of my favorite points because this is something that I just can't put into words, how much peace I have in my life since I deleted social media. And it essentially ties everything in that I've talked about so far when it comes to your life, when it comes to having clarity, removing distractions, and living a simple life. I believe the fruit of that is peace. And that peace is really overwhelming because I'm not constantly checking my phone. I'm not trying to keep up with short form content and that whole trap that we fall into as content creators or just consumers. And so I have peace that literally is just so hard to describe to you. And I wish that I could put it into words. And I really encourage you to try this out and to explore this, because this peace you will feel instantly after you delete social media. I am not even joking. 24 hours, less than 24 hours, you will feel a sense of peace because you're not on your phone. I am not joking. I'm not exaggerating. If you couldn't tell, I'm trying to persuade you because this has changed my life. You'll feel a sense of peace instantly. And again, like I said, it's overwhelming. And so I really encourage you to try this out for yourself so that you can experience that peace. And then the last point here is my business has been simplified. So like I said, I removed all the short form platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and I started focusing on the most important, which is YouTube, my email list. Those are the ones that have the greater return, because when you think about it, if you're spending 2 hours just to create short form content, the way they tell you to do it, you got to change the angle, you got to change the lighting, change the sound effects, change the music, you got to go in different sceneries. Like, it's exhausting. There was one time I spent 4 hours trying to create a storytelling short form content piece. And I was just like, this is exhausting. It's so frustrating. And I was just like, this is not how I want to create content. And so for me, I was able to simplify everything and focus on one platform and use that platform to bring everybody into my community, which is my email list. And I believe that a simple business model allows you to scale with peace and clarity. And so one of the principles that I have found to be relevant on this topic of simplicity is the 80-20 principle, which is 80% of your results come from 20% of your inputs. So wherever you are in life or business, 20% of your inputs is going to produce 80% of your results. So when you think about it, if you are spending hours creating short form content, and within 24 to 48 hours, those videos are pretty much gone, and it's all based on the algorithm, no one's going to go through your profile looking for that video. But on YouTube, for example, you can post a video once and several years later, it will pay you still because you have your links from your coaching program, your digital products, or whatever it is you're selling. And obviously there's, Google AdSense, or there's AdSense in there, and there's other things you can factor in, but you're better off putting more effort into the videos that are evergreen and will actually have a better return. And the 80-20 principle is a great one. Now, I didn't plan on talking about this, but I'm going to share it with you really quick. When you take 80-20 and you multiply it by 80-20, you get 64-4. So now it's taking it even deeper. 80-20 goes even deeper, where it becomes 64% of your results is produced by 4% of your inputs. Think about that for a minute. Think about how simple that is. Now, obviously, you have to identify what those inputs are. Now, if you have not produced any results just following 80-20, you have to start there. And so when you simplify that even more, you can get down to 4% of your inputs will produce 64% of your results. That's mind-blowing to me. So removing all the noise, all of the moving pieces in my business has allowed me to have so much peace and focus on the thing that actually moves the needle. So this has brought me, simplicity, which is what I talk about on this channel so much, because I believe that a simple business model is something you can easily scale. You don't need complication. You don't need every single platform that everybody and their grandma talks about. The gurus tell you to be on every platform. Just make things simple and you'll see a big change in your business. This is kind of a little rant, but this is just, my experience. So When I deleted social media, I was planning on bringing it back on January 1st. So far, I haven't, and I feel so much peace, and I'm 100% okay with that. Right now, I have no intentions on bringing it back, but I also don't know, what the plan is in the future, whether I bring it back or not. I have no intentions. I have not thought about it, and I don't plan on thinking about it right now. It's just not something I'm really focused on, if I do get back on or when. But for me right now, I'm just living my best life without social media, and it has changed the game for me. And I really want to encourage you to do the same thing, to try it out and see how it feels for you and how you can live a very simple life without social media. One of the things that I think is very toxic with social media, and let me just preface this, there is nothing wrong with having social media and posting about your life. But there's a fine line where people are sharing content that they should not be sharing online. I saw a video the other day from a very well-known fitness creator, and he was posting something about his relationship that should not have been posted. And it's things like that you should not be posting. Also, we sometimes as humans want to post something because we want the applause. We want the attention, like, oh, look at the big things I'm doing in 2026. Like, it feels good in the moment, but really, it's all for the ego. We don't need the applause from anybody, because as followers of Christ, we just need God's validation and God's approval. We don't need approval from man. So check your ego, right? Check your heart posture. Are you doing it for God? Or are you doing it for the applause of man? Again, there's a fine line, because you need to set a boundary on what you're going to show and what you're not going to show. So again, this is just my experience so far, and I'm loving it without social media. My life has become so simple. I have peace, I have clarity, and I'm able to move forward enjoying life without constantly checking my phone. So that wraps up this video. I really hope that you found it helpful. And if you've deleted social media before, comment down below what it's done for you. And if you're not on social media still, let people know in the comments how this has changed your life completely. I really want to know your experience, and then allow that to encourage somebody else. If you've never deleted social media, let me know down in the comments if you're going to try it out for, 3 days or a week or a month, whatever it is. I really encourage you to try it out. Now, if you found this video helpful, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. This isn't my typical video. My channel is really about helping you, teaching you biblical principles to grow your faith and your business so that you can create a life of freedom in your life, business, and finances. So if you like that kind of content, again, subscribe to the channel. Now, if you want exclusive content sent straight to your inbox, I post every single day, sending you daily emails so that you can learn the biblical principles to grow your faith, business, and also I teach you a little bit about psychology, because it's one of my favorite things to talk about. So if you like that and you want to focus on becoming a high-value Christian who has a life of freedom in your life, business, and finances, be sure to subscribe to the newsletter down below. I promise you don't want to miss that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.